Hi everyone and welcome to another video from Experiencing IT. Today I'll be taking a look at this computer you see right here, and you might be asking yourself why the title Windows 98 Almost Dumpster Build. Well, because a friend of mine had this in his storage and it almost ended up in the dumpster. Fortunately, he had the good sense to call me and ask if I'd like to keep it. How could I say no? So I'm very happy that I will be able to save this one, and as people say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So let's take a look at what came inside. I already took it all out of the case. Here we have an AMD Atlhon K7 running at 700 MHz. These are not that common in the retro computing community, but I believe it will be great for running Windows 98. It also came with this double fan heatsink. As for the RAM, it came with 3 DIMMs of 128 megs, PC133 for a total of 384 megs of RAM. The motherboard is a one-off. This is a Logitech P6K7A and it's almost impossible to find anything about it online. From what I could gather from a Japanese page, it seems to have been released in May of 2000 in Japan with a price tag of 14,800 yen, which, accounting for inflation and converted into today's prices, would be around 137 USD or 116 euros. The chipset is via Apollo, comprised of 2 chips, the VT8371 North Bridge controller and the VT82C686A South Bridge controller. This means this motherboard has at least one ATA66 controller, which is the blue one here, and on the right we have the Floppy controller. Besides that, the motherboard seems to be in pretty good condition, all capacitors seem okay, besides this small one over here which is bulging a bit, but I will not worry about it right now. And I have to give you this. This is a funny looking motherboard with its colored PCI slots and a white ISA slot, not something you often see. This motherboard also supports AGP4 and has a maximum capacity of 1.5 GB of RAM. From the back we have 2 PS2 ports, 2 USB ports, and given the time error, these are most probably USB 1.0. We also have 2 serial ports, a parallel port, and the input and output checks for the audio chipset, which I believe is an AC97 audio controller quite popular for the time frame. Included was also this Asus CT-RW drive, which can read and record at 52 times and rewrite at 24 times. And this LG DVD-ROM drive. In the case was also this quite dirty Samsung floppy drive, which I will replace for a more modern Gotek floppy emulator. For storage we have this Western Digital WD200, which I believe it is a 20 GB hard drive and it seems it came out of an old compact computer. For the network we have this 3COM network adapter capable of speeds up to 100 megabits per second. I will not reuse this one on the build, maybe some other time. And finally, the graphics card, which I believe is a GeForce 4 Ti 4200 with 64 megs of RAM. As for the power supply, I'll replace the one that came with the case for this more recent one. Now let's take a closer look at the graphics card. Looking a bit closer, all capacitors seem to be okay, no issues here. The heatsink is quite dirty and it has seen better days. I'm going to replace it with a new one sourced from eBay. To remove the heatsink with a pair of pliers, I squeezed the pins holding the fan in place, gave it a bit of a push and it came out fairly easy. To clean the GPU, I used a paper towel with a bit of alcohol, and the dried up thermal paste came out fairly easy. As suspected, this is indeed a GeForce 4 Ti. So for now, let's put this one on the side and tackle the computer case. To clean the case, I first started by spraying it with some all-purpose cleaner. I then gave it a rub with a toothbrush to release the built-up dirt in the harder to reach parts, and finally I passed with a microfiber cloth embedded in all-purpose cleaner all over the case. I then went ahead and removed the old stickers. I wanted to keep this one, but unfortunately it was impossible to remove it undamaged. It needed a little bit of retrobrighting, but I think it looks awesome anyway. The brand sticker came out quite easily, and I just needed to clean the recess with a bit of alcohol and it was good to go. And this is how the case looks now. Check out these pictures before and after. Before putting all back in the case, I'm gonna try and install Windows 98. So before installing Windows, I went to the BIOS and disabled all the devices and peripherals that I didn't need, such as the serial ports, parallel port, onboard modem, and also the onboard audio chipset. The audio chipset I disabled because I've tried to install Windows on the machine before and there's something wrong with this chipset. Sitting on idle, this is the sound I have from the line out and speakers output. So I'm going to use this old ISA card that I had lying around, and this is what I get from the headphones jack sitting on idle. So let's move on to installing Windows. Okay guys, so I've had some hiccups building this one, but it's all part of the game. Unfortunately, it seems that none of the optical drives that came with the machine worked, as I couldn't boot from any of them with my Windows 98 CD. Fortunately, I had this other drive that you see on the frame, and this one seems to be working properly. So, finally, let's go and try to install Windows 98. Installing Windows 98 went without an issue. The longer part was formatting the disk, which took around 25 minutes. After that, and after selecting the components I wanted to install, the rest of the setup took around 20 minutes more. After a bit more of setting up and a few more reboots, I'm finally greeted with the Windows 98 welcome screen. With Windows installed, it was time to install the Windows 98 USB storage driver and the Nvidia graphics driver. All drivers were downloaded from Phil's Computer Lab website for the exception of the sound card driver. Links to all drivers will be in the video description. I finally installed the sound card drivers. Apparently, some of the files in my Windows directory were replaced for older versions of that same file, but it all seems to be working okay. And with the system ready, it's time to play some games. I couldn't be happier with the results. This is quite a capable system that, while it allows me to play older DOS games such as Prince of Persia or Doom, it also allows me to play some of my favorite Windows games, such as Quake 3, Command & Conquer Red Alert 2, Carmageddon or Motorhead. Granted that for some games I had to lower the resolution or the graphic detail for the games to run smoothly, but hey, it's a free system and I'm sure it will give me lots of hours of entertainment. And with everything now inside the case, the only thing left to do is to put the AMD sticker on its place and let everyone know that I'm a proud owner of an AMD retro system. Let me know your opinion in the comment section below. What did you change or improve? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you again soon.